Today's episode is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania. Renewal by Andersen offers you a better way to a better window. Go to RBACentralPADeals.com for this month's specials. A 76-year-old woman has been charged in a cold case after DNA testing disproved her story about a goose bite. In Pittsburgh, rescue plan funds might go towards alleviating residents' medical debt. A man somehow managed to steal an antique railing. Plus, a store decides to celebrate the darker side of Christmas. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and you're listening to Today in PA. It was August 1987 when Judith Jarvis's husband Carl was found dead in their Millerstown home from a gunshot wound to the head, reports PennLive. Judith explained to the troopers she had called at the time she had gone outside after a domestic dispute and that her husband shot himself. Despite the then forensic pathologist concluding, quote, it would be essentially impossible for the victim to shoot himself in the manner in which the body was found, unquote, charges were never filed. Now, decades later, recent DNA testing has concluded blood found on the pajamas Judith had been wearing that night belonged to her husband and was not the result from a goose bite like she had originally claimed. The now 76-year-old was arrested yesterday on a murder charge and denied bail. Pittsburgh might use funding from the American Rescue Plan Act to help alleviate residents' medical debt, reports the Tribune Review. City council members will consider legislation introduced by Councilman Bobby Wilson yesterday that would allow for $1 million of these funds to go towards this initiative. This would be done by partnering with New York-based nonprofit RIP Medical Debt to buy dischargeable healthcare debt directly from hospitals and forgiving it. The legislation elaborates how this would apply to residents who received care on or after March 30th, 2020, and who have a household income less than 4 times the federal poverty level. Anyone who has debts that are 5% or more than their annual income would also qualify. Additionally, account balances must have been written off as bad debt, and hospitals must consider the accounts to be dormant. Further information regarding the status of this legislation remains pending. Earlier this month, a man somehow managed to steal an antique brass railing from outside Philadelphia City Hall, states 6 ABC News. Video shows how the suspect had cut the railing, which dates back to the early 1900s and may be worth over $20,000, into smaller pieces and used a shopping cart to take it away. This isn't even the first time something like this has happened either. Someone else stole another brass railing from the Union League that's only a block away back in 2016. Police are still looking for the man as of the recording of this podcast and are urging anyone with any information to please contact them. Says one Philadelphia resident of the theft, quote, they're stealing ATM machines on a regular basis, so no, it doesn't surprise me. The holiday season is full of bright, spirit-lifting good cheer, and many local events reflect this merrymaking, says the Times leader. However, the strange and unusual oddities parlor in Kingston decided to take, shall we say, a different route. This past Sunday, the store, which sells things like alligator claws and taxidermy ducklings, invited people to take photos with Krampus. Krampus, for those of you who may be unfamiliar, is basically the Santa that went to the dark side, who punishes misbehaving children by doing things like beating them with a stick. Nevertheless, he appears to be popular, as the line to see him stretched out the shop's door and into the Dairy Queen parking lot next door. That wraps up today's episode. For more news, visit PennLive.com. And don't forget to please rate this podcast in either Apple or Amazon and to write it an honest review, should you be so willing. Thanks in advance. And as always, thanks for listening. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and I'll be back again tomorrow for another round of Today in PA. Today's episode is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central Pennsylvania. Renewal by Andersen offers you a better way to a better window. Go to RBACentralPADeals.com for this month's specials.